One of the most critical steps in a successful job search is in networking, and yet it's the step that most people want to avoid or are afraid to do. In this video, I'm going to talk about the benefits of networking and take the fear out of taking action with 3 easy methods you can use to approach people, and I'll give you examples to get conversations started. Hi there! If we haven't met before, I'm Stacey Davidson, founder and CEO of Virtual Job Search Coach, where I'm going on 13 years as a career coach, job search strategist, resume writer, and interview expert. Welcome to my channel where I teach techniques and strategies to help you determine, pursue, and land your dream job. If the word networking makes you shudder, then you're not alone. Tell me in the comments what your greatest fear is when it comes to networking. If you're shy, introverted, or get nervous talking to strangers, then the thought of networking will probably make you feel anxious. Well, hang in there. I'm going to give you 3 great tips to help you combat your fear and become a networking superstar. Now, before we jump in, please give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and tap that notification bell to be alerted when my next video is out. So, first, let me talk about why networking is so important in job search. 80% of jobs are landed through what's called the hidden job market. The other 20% are filled through job boards and recruiters, which is what the majority of job seekers rely on as their main source for finding their next job. The hidden job market consists of opportunities that arise through unadvertised positions. And did you hear me say that 80% of jobs are filled through the hidden job market? These hidden jobs are found primarily through networking. So if you're not networking, you're missing out on 80% of your ideal job opportunities. There are about a dozen reasons why 80% of jobs aren't advertised, and I talk about those in some of my other videos. A couple of the top reasons are employers love employee referrals. 88% of employers surveyed by John Sullivan Research say their #1 best source for above average applicants is through employee referrals. 88%! Also, advertised jobs take an average of 7 to 16 weeks to fill, sometimes longer, and we all know time is money. Employee referrals reduce the time by 55% and can save employers tens of thousands of dollars in recruitment and hiring costs. Those are just 2 reasons why networking is so important. So let's jump into 3 tips on how to network. Tip number 1 is start with who you know. Family, close friends, and if you're fortunate to have a large extended family, you've got cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents, parents, and in-laws. That can be a goldmine for networking. Then move to acquaintances, neighbors, past work colleagues, people you've volunteered with, teachers, people from school or your alumni, people you've attended church with or your church leaders, people you've met through clubs and associations, people you play sports with, and those who you know through your social media networks. Next, I want you to think about people you do business with. Salespeople, insurance agents, bankers, dentists, massage therapists, counselor, real estate agent, hairdresser, mortgage broker, tradespeople, your sports coaches, or your kids' sports coaches. The list goes on. And outside of those groups, the other people you need to connect with are recruiters, hiring managers at target companies, influential strangers, people you meet at events or through groups, or volunteer activities, for example. Sit down and brainstorm all the people you know. Write down their names or enter them in a spreadsheet so you can easily keep track of who you've connected with, and you have a simple list to add more names to as they come up. As I'm sure you'll agree, talking with family and friends is fairly easy, right? And maybe it's not so scary chatting up your acquaintances. When it starts to get outside your comfort zone, for you non-extroverts, is outside that circle. Talking to other people you do business with and those outside of those groups. As kids, we were told by our parents, don't talk to strangers, and for some of us, that still haunts us in adulthood. So I'm going to give you a couple of simple tips to help you get started when it comes to approaching strangers. The greatest fear that most people have when it comes to networking is fear of rejection, or having the other person dismiss you, be rude to you, or just plain not like you. It's human nature to want to be liked, respected, valued, and loved. And in the words of the famous poet John Lydgate, you can please some of the people all of the time and please all of the people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. So, not everyone is going to like you or want to talk to you or want to help you, but those are a small percentage of people. It's also human nature for the majority of people to want to be kind and to want to help others. If you struggle with lack of confidence, check out my video, 5 Top Skills Employers Want. Increase your value and boost your confidence, where I give tips on this subject as well as some books and resources I recommend to help with confidence and self-esteem. Here's my hot tip when it comes to networking. Do not ask for a job immediately. That's a huge turnoff. Focus first on building a relationship, or at the very least, building a positive, likable rapport with someone first. Now on to tip number 2, have some good conversation starters. The best way to reduce your anxiety in talking to strangers is to develop some conversation starters and practice them in front of a mirror. I know it sounds silly, but trust me, it really helps. Practicing in front of a mirror will help you build your confidence. You'll discover what facial expressions you use or not. If you're not prone to smiling, practice smiling in front of the mirror while you talk, and your facial muscles will start to develop muscle memory. Do you remember when you first learned how to ride a bike as a young child? You were totally wobbly, and if you were like me, you fell and skinned your knees a few times before you finally got the right balance. And then, as each day went by, you got better and more confident. And within a couple of weeks, you were riding with no hands, doing wheelies and jumping your bike off the curb and ramps. So practice smiling and opening conversations in front of a mirror a few times a day, every day, and within 2 to 4 weeks, your muscle memory should have kicked in, and you'll be smiling and speaking more confidently and with less anxiety than before. Some good conversation starters are topics like making a compliment about a person or to a person, not about their looks though, but maybe about the venue or event that you're attending. If you're at a location, make a positive, or sometimes negative is appropriate, but I'm not going to get into that. Just use your common sense. Comment on something you observed at the event and ask the person that you're speaking to if they agree or what their thoughts are on the subject. Open with a joke, but keep in mind humor is subjective, so be careful on your subject matter. And lastly, and probably one of my favorites because I'm fascinated with human behavior, is based on the Ben Franklin effect, which is the phenomenon that a person who has performed a favor for another person is more likely to do another favor for the other than if they received a favor from that person. Well, basically, it means when someone does a favor or a kindness for someone, it sparks a small bond, and that person is more likely to do you another favor. So for example, you can ask someone, can you tell me where the bathroom is? Or may I borrow your pen for a minute? Or can you please pass the... I like this style of conversation starter because it gives me a chance to see how the person responds, if they seem friendly and approachable or if they seem annoyed. If they seem unfriendly or annoyed, then move on. If they appear to be friendly and approachable, then you now have a great starting point for further conversation. Probably the most common conversation starter, and the one I advise against using, is "Hi, how are you?" It's too generic, because what is the most common reply? Good, thanks. And then that leaves an awkward moment if they don't return the question. And it just reminds me too much of a cheap pickup line. So as an alternative, try something like this. "Hi, how are you enjoying this event? What do you think of the sponsor or speaker? Or what did you think of the demonstration?" Ask a question that forces someone to say a little more than yes, no, or good thanks. I realize these are techniques for networking in person. Networking online and by phone is a little bit different. And if you'd like me to do a video on that topic, drop me a note in the comment section. And tip number 3 is asking for an informational interview. Now, you don't want to ask for this as the first words out of your mouth when talking to someone face to face. Employ tip number 2 first. Informational interviews are a great way to build a relationship with someone in a company that you want to target as a potential future employer, and a fantastic way to dig deep on potential opportunities. I made a video called Informational Interviews, the Most Powerful Job Search Strategy in 3 Easy Steps. That is dedicated entirely to the topic of informational interviewing, including conversation openers to request an informational interview with someone. It also includes questions to ask during an informational interview, so definitely check out my video on this. I would love to hear in the comment section what your greatest fears and struggles are when it comes to job search and networking. I hope today's tips and strategies help you power up your job search and build confidence in networking. Remember, the person you're approaching is a human being just like you. We are all perfectly imperfect, so be bold and start a conversation. Here are a couple of my other top videos you might also like. If you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.